Hey Internet, this is Jason Witt with TC Box Crawl. We are at Die Empty CrossFit, and I'm here with Michael and Jeanine Chunn, the owners of Die Empty CrossFit, and we are going to talk about everything that you ever wanted to know about Die Empty, how they do their programming, and what their box is all about. So first off, let's just get into some general background information. Kind of get to know you guys just a little bit, and then we'll get into the box information. So, starting off, where did you guys grow up? Did you play sports growing up as a kid, high school, middle school? Did it get competitive? That kind of thing, college. So, Mike,
Want me to start?
Yeah.
For me, I grew up in the Tri-Cities, born and raised in Richland. Went to Hanford High School. Played high school baseball and high school football, stuff like that. Very active as a young boy. After high school, went to Spokane Falls Community College, played some baseball there, and then after that I transferred to Pacific Lutheran University over in the Tacoma.
Okay. Did you play?
I did. I played baseball over there. Yeah.
Okay. So is it 2 year? Is it 2 year, 2 year, or 2 year, 4 year? Or how does that?
2 year to a 4 year, but I had 2 years left, so I played 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So none of that redshirty freshman kind of weird stuff.
Well, so I played 2 years at Spokane Falls, and then I actually took a year off, and in that year I ran track. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah. So
What'd you do in track?
400 sprints. This is great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really tough race.
Yeah. It's
Right on.
long enough to be fast, but it's fast enough to be horrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So year of track and field, and then 2 more years of baseball after that.
Okay. So brothers, sisters?
Half brother, half sister. They're about 10 years older than I am. So.
Okay. So when you were growing up, didn't really compete with sports or activities?
Not with them, no.
All that much.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got that competitive drive from playing sports just in
Exactly.
school.
Yeah.
Okay. Friends, that kind of thing. Okay. Jeanine?
I grew up in California.
What? Where at?
Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big city girl.
Yeah, this is like a culture shock.
No kidding.
It was awesome though. But I actually started gymnastics when I was 3. And then started getting competitive at 7. And then I was the U.S. national champion in 2000. 2000. Yeah, because I was 14. And then I was hoping to go to Olympic trials, and I broke my ankle. So then I kind of stepped away from the elite world and did level 10.
So at 14, where are you at school-wise? I mean, normally it's high school, but I mean, what's for that level of competition? I was going to say, it sounds like
I was that homeschooled girl.
Okay.
Yeah, I was homeschooled.
No social life, no friends.
Nothing.
You live, breathe, eat, sleep, gymnastics.
Yeah. Wow. From sixth grade through my freshman year of high school, I was homeschooled.
Okay.
And then my mom found out that the homeschool course I was going through, those credits weren't good for NC2A school. So I had to go back to high school.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I was dumped into high school my sophomore year, and that was the worst year of my life.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Culture shock.
Culture shock. And, no friends, nothing. Like, it was horrible. But I made it through. I came out alive. And got a full ride for gymnastics to Oregon State University. My senior year of
That had to be a culture shock. California to Oregon?
It was, but I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, I really did, except for the rain.
What's their facility like for gymnastics with Oregon State?
Breathtaking.
Some schools are known for a specific athletic program, like, basketball. And
Ours was gymnastics and wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. At least the time that I was there.
Right on.
Yeah. So it was awesome, and it was an amazing experience. I was there for only 2 years, though, and then I actually moved back home to LA, and I went through the police academy.
Wow.
Yeah. And decided that wasn't for me. I was young sure. And just like meh.
Trying to figure it out.
Yeah. And then moved back to Oregon.
What got you into the police academy?
I've always wanted to.
Really?
Yeah, I remember being like 7 to 14 years old and being, driving along with my mom or my dad and seeing someone run a red light or do this or do that. And I'm like, I'm going to be a cop and I'm going to fix that person. Yeah, that's the direction I went.
Okay,
yeah.
well, that's awesome. I've got some similar background, so that's really cool.
So,
brothers, sisters growing up?
I do. I have an older brother. His name is Josh. He's 4 years older than I am. And then I have a sister. She's 14 years older than I am.
So 4 years, boy, sounds like you guys are close enough
We're
to
very
where
close,
you
yeah.
compete.
We competed, yeah.
Because boy, I know boy-girl, whether
Yeah.
you want to or not, there's some general competition
There
there.
is. But I don't know, like I even tell you, I was like, him and I have, to this day, such a close relationship that, I mean, we've had our tiffs and arguments, but I mean, we've always been close because we had each other. So
So did you guys meet here? Or did you meet down there and came up here?
we met at another CrossFit box
Yeah.
about 2.5 years ago,
3.
3 years ago.
Okay, so we'll get into
But
that.
yeah.
So what brought you from California up to Washington? Family or just the Oregon and
So
you liked
from
the area? Or?
I loved Oregon. I really did. So except for the rain, I have to keep pointing that out. Moved to Oregon, and then a job brought me up here, being a head coach for gymnastics.
Okay.
So I did that for about 7 years, and then CrossFit kind of slowly took over my life. So
Right on.
yeah.
How did you discover CrossFit? I know my personal story was just through friends, because back then it was
Yeah.
unheard of,
Yeah.
and just crazy fringe people were doing it, and so you had to hear about it.
Yeah.
Word of mouth.
Yeah.
How'd you guys hear about it?
For me, so I used to work out at Energy Northwest. Two guys from Energy Northwest owned RSA CrossFit,
Okay.
Joey and Tyson. So basically, I had been going to the big box Gold's Gym forever, right?
Yeah,
Just like everybody else. Decided that I wanted to do something different. Wasn't happy with where I was bored, didn't like doing my own thing. And so one day I just walked up to them out at work. They had business cards posted on the walls and stuff like that. So I just grabbed one, talked with them, and said, you know what, I want to come give it a try. I want to see what it's all about.
So Gold's actually let them put their business cards.
No,
in.
no, Energy Northwest.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
wow, that's crazy.
No, no.
They're wishing they didn't.
Yeah,
now,
right.
you know?
Right.
So tried it once and then was hooked from there. Never went back to Gold's, canceled the membership and all that stuff. So,
Wow.
so that's just being athletic. It wasn't necessarily competing against everyone there. It was just having somebody to push you, right? Where in Gold's Gym, you're just looking at mirrors and all that stuff and
Sure.
watching people flexing.
Believe me, I know exactly what you're talking about. Especially the boredom part with that,
yeah.
Yeah.
back and by chest and try routine.
Right.
Yeah, it gets old.
Yeah.
How'd you find or hear about CrossFit for the first time?
Actually, Fallout was my first CrossFit gym, but I went there because a friend of mine that I did gymnastics with, her name's Sarah, she's from LA.
Okay.
She's like, you got to give this a try. It's so much fun. And I'm like, I did gymnastics for 18 years. I don't want to work out anymore. And she's like, no, like there's gymnastics and it's so much fun and it's competitive. You can compete. And I'm like, whatever. So I went to Fallout and tried it. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is cool. But I don't think I was mentally there.
Sure.
But I was hooked. So then another gym opened not even a mile from my house. And I was like freaking out, excited. And I'm like, let's do it. And I haven't turned back since.
Okay. Do you guys remember your first workouts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it?
Karen,
Okay.
horrible. 150 wobbles for time.
Yep.
It was horrible. And it was actually during the Open, whatever year that Karen was in the Open.
Okay. So did you actually finish it?
Not in the time cap, no. No. No.
Do you remember yours?
I don't, but it was, oh, you know what? Yeah, it was baseline.
Okay.
And I died. And I look at it now and I'm like,
Are you
it's
kidding
not
me?
that bad. Like, it's a warm up now, but like back then, I remember just being like halfway into the row and like, I still have 250 meters left. Like, this is horrible.
And then all this other stuff to do after.
And all this other
Right.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that I remember the first time I got on a rower just from like doing the Golds thing.
Yeah.
And then I got off and was like, now I know why I see rowing in all of these CrossFit workouts online, because this thing is
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So talk to me about your guys' transition from you found CrossFit, you're liking it, you're doing it, and then it goes into something happens generally with most people where you say, you know, I think I have something to offer the community, you know, the people around me. I think I might want to coach. And usually that experience is a little bit different for most people. So take me through maybe the mental aspect or the thought process of, I'm working out, this is a lot of fun, I'm throwing down, I'm pretty good at this. I think I can teach you.
Right.
You know, I noticed I'm squatting better than you, and I think I can fix you. You know what? So what was that transition like, or how did that come about?
For me, I don't know if there was really a hard and fast, oh, I want to be a coach, right?
Sure.
It's just one of those things that I was doing it for about 6-7 months and just thought, you know what, I'm going to go get my L1. I don't necessarily think I want to coach, but I'm going to go get my L1. May lead into some coaching, right?
Sure.
And then I went and got the L1, and I don't know if I was kind of forced to coach, but it was just like, okay, you have your L1.
Go.
Go.
Okay.
You're going to coach now.
Surprise!
Or do you want to coach now? And I'm like, okay, I guess so. So that, I didn't set out to do it when I initially started.
Right.
But I guess the individuals who asked me to do it saw something in me, whether it's being around the individuals, being able to talk to somebody, being able to lead, whatever it is that they wanted in a coach, right?
Right.
They saw that in me, and I guess at this point I would say I'm glad they did, right? Because I don't know if I ever would have taken that step without
Giving
them.
that push.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's a double-edged sword.
It is.
It's that whole, I'm super encouraged, and you guys are pumping me up
Yeah,
because
'cause
you
look
think
at us now.
I can do this, but at the same time, if I really screw this up, it's all on me.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Sure.
Yeah. For me, when I did join that box that was just a mile down my road, I've been a gymnastics coach, or at that time I was a gymnastics coach over 10 years.
Sure.
So coaching's in my blood, and I think I have a good niche or knack on helping people and spotting those little flaws and helping people through, and
Sure.
yeah. So
something you already enjoyed. And
I already enjoyed it, yeah.
Gymnastics.
And kind of the same thing, I never really expected to coach, and CrossFit was so new, I didn't even know what the L1 was.
Sure.
And you tell me that there's a test, I'm out. And the coach at the time, he was like, well, what's your thought on going and doing your L1? And I was like, well, what does it take?
Right.
And he's like, well, it's only a weekend. And I'm like, oh, sure, bring it. Yeah, I didn't pass my first test. So I think I went in there too confident, and kind of that ego of like, I've coached
I can do
for
this,
so many
yeah.
years, I know what I'm doing. And went and retested, obviously, and obviously passed, so here I am. Yeah.
We're coaching, or you're coaching, you've made that additional step from, okay, now I'm helping other people to become better. Mm-hmm. Now there is this huge, let's call it a barrier to entry of, I want to open up my own box. I want to do this. I think, I like what I've done so far. I like the boxes I've been at, but I think I can do it better. Kind of talk me through that again, sort of that mind frame or that decision-making process to, was there a catalyst? Was it a slow progression of over time, or a combination of factors?
Go ahead.
I think from when I've talked to you too, I think we've always had that in the back of our head of eventually owning our own. Mm-hmm. I don't know necessarily really together at the time.
Right.
But things, came up, and, our coaching got better, and we felt like we had a lot to offer. And when you start reaching the point of you are confident in your coaching, but not to the point of egotistical,
Sure.
right? I think once you can reach that, it's like, I think I can do this.
Right.
Because that's the confidence that you need within yourself.
Sure. But there's the I think I can do it versus the I want to do it, and now it's the I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
those
was
are
like that.
big hurdles
They are.
to get over. So
I think for us it was pretty quick.
It was. We decided to do it probably
End of February.
is when we decided.
Yeah. Like, I remember, honestly, like, laying in bed, and look, he was leaving for work, and I'm like, we're going to open our own box. I was like, let's do it. We have to do it. And he goes, okay.
Okay, you guys, you met here local at
Correct.
CrossFit
Yeah.
box?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so working out together, I assume?
I don't-
That kind of thing? Or?
No, so
We both coached at the same box.
yeah,
So we knew each other.
she
that
coached
way.
the 10, and
In the
I
evening.
Yeah, and I had a day job, so
Right.
I wasn't there during the day, right? But would see her in the evenings.
Right, but I mean, you met, it's a romance that occurred at the
blossomed
box.
in
You know,
CrossFit,
you
yeah.
guys
Right.
met at the box, okay.
Yeah.
So how long had you been together before you decided, I want to open up a box? I
Almost a
mean,
year. It
Yeah.
was almost a year.
Yeah, I was coming up on a year.
It was almost a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was, like you said, it was when you know, you know.
Right.
And not only between us, like obviously we're married now, but we were so confident in each other of, yes, we're opening this gym. We didn't know the size. We didn't know
Sure.
Where
any logistics or anything. It's just like we knew we were going to open one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we complement each other in what we do know, right? I have a business background, went to school for business, stuff like that. She's very sports oriented, people oriented. I've programmed it, all the boxes I've been at. So I think we had a firm grasp on the concepts of owning and running a gym,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you're a little bit ahead of the game, it sounds
Sure.
like, as far as
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
aspect goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. It sounds like the process happened quickly, and it sounds like maybe because of your business background, you kind of knew the hurdles
Yeah.
with looking for the location and establishing
Yeah.
where you're going to go and setting everything up.
Yeah.
I know you did a really good job of documenting that on social media.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
definitely had a
Watch.
plan.
Yeah.
That was cool. Die Empty.
Yeah.
How'd that happen? I mean, I have to admit, the first time I read it, it was scratching my head like, what?
Do I want to go?
It was, yeah, just, you know, it was
Yeah.
a little, I don't
Yeah.
know, not abrasive, but it was a kind of in your face,
Yeah.
unusual. It just really, you
Yeah.
know, it's not something that you just kind of, okay, you know, I've seen that
not real
CrossFit
fluffy.
name, I've seen that, yeah,
It's not
really
real
just
fluffy.
like, you
It's
know,
in your face.
We went back and forth a lot on names.
Yeah.
So like when you put in for your affiliate, you have to come up with 3 names,
okay,
right? And then your top name is the one you want, second is second choice,
Sure,
etc.
sure.
It's ultimately up to HQ to decide, and also to make sure it's not taken.
right.
But you know, he wanted something a little bit more traditional. Like what was one of the ones?
can't
Like
remember.
Columbia River CrossFit.
Sure, like
Right.
a
You know,
location.
Yeah,
or
location.
Three Rivers, right, or something
Yeah.
like that. Three Rivers was already
Sure.
taken,
Yeah.
but something
But-
that was like the area, right?
But me, I live life on the edge. I wanted something strong. I wanted something powerful, and we have Die Empty. So
Okay.
yeah. But our slogan though is "Leave nothing, die empty."
Right.
So-
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, that makes sense when you read it, but at first when you're just seeing it,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Die Empty
Yeah.
CrossFit, you're like,
Die Empty CrossFit, Die Empty CrossFit. What are they talking about? And do I really want to go
Right.
there?
We get that question a lot.
yeah,
We do.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's there's a whole group of CrossFits over the last, I'd say, 7 years, maybe 5 years, that started rebranding and taking CrossFit off their name because
Sure.
in their areas it was actually scaring their business away.
Yeah.
But once people, you know, showed up to Die Empty training, you
Right.
know, or whatever,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, you know, everybody
They're
shows
like, "Oh,
up.
it's okay."
And they're okay, yeah. And
yeah.
it's just, it's
oh,
just
we're doing
that-
CrossFit.
that
Oh,
name.
surprise!
Yeah.
So it's interesting, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's actually it's a bold choice.
Yeah,
It
and
is.
it can be
in a
intimidating
name
too.
because you could actually scare away clients because of
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
name.
We can.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that's
Yeah.
cool. I mean, it says a lot
Yeah.
about you guys, and you know, hey, we're here to give you
Yeah.
a level of fitness that's
Right.
gonna leave you at that point
Yes.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah. We try.
What is CrossFit?
Do you want the CrossFit definition?
Are you
So,
Or-
so somebody comes to you or you're, you know, walking down the street, what do you do at a CrossFit gym? And they give you that blank stare and you know you've got 30 seconds to give them that elevator pitch.
Yeah.
What's CrossFit? So what is
So-
your typical response to somebody you're talking to that
For me,
knows nothing about it?
CrossFit is working out, doing things that you are capable of doing, right? Just like highly variable functional movements, right?
Okay.
High intensity, right? But it's whatever the individual is capable of doing, right? We could have whatever on the whiteboard. Somebody could walk in off the street and we could get them through a workout.
Sure.
I tell that to everyone I see, big, small, round, flat, whatever, right? You step in our doors, whatever's written on the board, we'll do something like that, but it doesn't have to match that.
Do you find that level of detail encourages additional conversation, or is that enough for most people?
It definitely encourages additional conversation. They're like, so can you give me an example? And I said, okay, so today we have X, Y, and Z. For X, if you can lift 115 pounds, you'll lift 115 pounds, right?
Sure.
With good form, right? If not,
sure,
we'll go down to just a bar. We'll go down to just a PVC. We'll do a kettlebell. We'll do a dumbbell, so on and so forth. And I'll walk them through. If we're not there yet, I'm not going to force you to do anything, or we're not going to force you to do anything.
Sure.
We will do what you can do, right?
Same question. So you're not together. Somebody comes up and hits you up. Hey, you know, what do you do? I'm CrossFit. You know, I own a CrossFit gym. What the heck is
So
that?
I need a scenario. Are we outside the gym or are we in the gym? I usually tell people that they are functional movements, and some people look at me at like, what's a functional movement? And my answer to that is, when you're carrying your grocery bags and you pick them off the floor, what do? You know, are you bending over, rounding, or are you trying to like stand up and use your legs?
Sure.
You know, when you go to put your cereal box away, are you doing a push press, or, you know, at least using your shoulders to get it up there?
Okay.
You know, those are considered functional movements. When you go to run with your kids or roll with your kids, or, you know, you're kind of burping, right? You're kind of like face plant down there.
I like that.
Right?
Kind of, sure.
And, you know, so to me, that's functional stuff. It's stuff that you're doing outside of these doors, that you're trying to do everyday life stuff, whether it be with your family, your kids, your job, whatever it might be. So what we're doing in here is making you better for out there.
Sure. So who's CrossFit for then?
Anybody and everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's always the answer.
Our doors are open to anybody and everybody. And,
Yeah.
and we truly believe that.
Yeah, I would say like and I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, but
Okay.
what we pride on ourselves here is the modifications and scalability that we can have for people of all ages, of all levels.
Yeah.
Right? And you know, we're not going to just have someone load up a bar and see what they can do. No, you're going to start with PVC. We're going to build your form, your technique, your mechanics
First.
and drill it
Right.
up to a month before we even start loading a bar.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Somebody brand new, meaning off the couch,
Mm-hmm.
hasn't done anything for, say, 3 years, 5 years, you know, they worked out in high school, they got a job, they work at a whatever desk job, and they've been sitting around for a number of years, and finally realized, looking in the mirror after talking to the doctor, 30 pounds heavier, you know, I've got problems. Doctor tells me I need to start losing some weight and working out, or I'm looking at, you know, pre-diabetic, you know,
Sure.
medication
Blood
and all this
pressure,
stuff.
yeah.
So they walk in the door, they're terrified.
It's a big step.
You know, walking into a CrossFit gym, for whatever reason, they decided to check yours out. Walk me through that experience for that type of an individual. You start, you know, you find out enough information that they're brand new.
Sure.
What can I expect as that athlete, not knowing anything about you guys? You know, walk me through a sort of a introductory, you know, what do I expect in the first week? You know, first day, first week. What does that look like?
So 2 different scenarios with that, right? If we're running an on-ramp program, right, within the next week or so, we would get that individual in that on-ramp program where we would go through the 9 foundational movements over 3 days, right? And then the next week we would closely watch them while they do their second week of on-ramp.
So what does that look like? What does an on-ramp look like with you guys?
We have 3 days of 3 movements a day, and it varies which
It's all the 9 foundational
Monday,
movements.
Tuesday, Wednesday? Is
It's
it Monday,
Wednesday,
Friday?
Thursday, Friday.
Wednesday,
Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the next week they can come to any of the classes. We'd like to know so
3
we can
days.
inform the coach of which one that they're going to be at.
Okay.
And normally, if they're brand new, Jeanine or I will be at one of those classes as well, right?
Sure.
Just so they see a familiar face.
Extra eyes kind of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Sure.
They,
Okay.
Yeah.
because the class might be big, we might want the other coaches to focus on the main class, and we would focus on the other individual.
Sure.
Right. If we're not in an on-ramp, similarly, we would try to do the mentoring piece, right? We would know that they were new, and then we would have a coach, not necessarily be with them the whole time, but more eyes on them, right? So when we're here, there's probably at a minimum 2 coaches for each class, except for the 10 a.m., right? So we would watch that individual, assist that individual to make sure that they feel comfortable in what they're doing, right? And it would probably be Jeanine or myself.
Okay. Now you've got an experienced CrossFitter coming in. They've done it for a couple of years. We'll say they don't have an actual coaching, an L1 or anything, but they've been doing it for a number of years. They've gone from another box. Say they moved from Seattle, something like that.
Sure.
So what can I expect as that athlete coming in? And you guys know I've got that experience. What does it look like for me walking in the door?
It's not, I guess, I'm just gonna be blatant. Biggest thing is we need to have people leave their ego at the door.
Sure.
Right? I could have Annie Thorstadter walk in the door and I'm gonna tell her the same thing, leave your ego at the door. You're gonna listen to the coaches because we take pride in what our coaches are teaching. But in a nice way, right?
Sure.
It's not like someone brand new walks in and be like, leave your ego. It's it's building that relationship that they can trust us as in coaches, and then vice versa, right? But it's
So are you giving them expectations? Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
it's expectations from both ends.
Okay.
Yes, we have expectations from them. We would hope that they respect the coaches. Whatever's written on the board, whatever's being taught, do that.
Right.
We know that injuries or things might come up that we have to scale things.
Sure.
But I think building that foundation and trusting our philosophy as a gym and growing from there, if that individual can see it, will truly help not only them, but us as well.
So I know some facilities, they'll say it doesn't matter who you are, what your experience level is, we're going to watch you move first before we just throw you into a class. Is that your experience? Is that something you guys do, or is it just something that you're gonna watch and pay a little extra attention to? You're telling me you've done CrossFit for a couple of years, but we're just gonna.
We pay extra attention.
Okay.
Right.
Majority of the time, because of people's work schedule, they're coming in the evening.
Okay.
So with that being said, we've got 3 to 4 coaches here. So if I'm not working out, majority of the time I'm on the floor. Lori might be the lead coach, and I'm just kind of assisting and helping and being those extra eyes.
Right.
I don't see it as someone with that much experience needs to do an on-ramp. I think it's a waste of their time, honestly. But if they come in and show us form that they can't even do an air squat.
You got some problems.
Yeah. What Jim did, you go to.
Well, and that's why we do a lot of stuff in our warm-up, right, that incorporates most of those movements,
Sure.
most of the 9 movements, right? We do change the warm-up every other week, right? But it still has a PVC portion or a banded portion, right? A body weight portion, and then a barbell portion,
Yeah.
right? So we can pretty much see what the individual is going to do if they can't do a strict press or a stiff-legged deadlift or anything like that. I mean, it's pretty evident,
Yeah.
right? In those first 10 minutes.
Sure.
Right.
So how young do you guys coach?
In a general class,
Yeah.
12.
12.
Okay. So
Yeah.
just the standard CrossFit.
But there's always a but.
Yeah.
It's 12, but if they can't show that they can listen and take instruction for the most part, or have that willingness to learn,
Sure.
then we have them wait.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I think that's responsible and
Yeah.
appropriate.
yeah. So,
What qualities, and this isn't a loaded question, it's very honest, what makes a good coach?
So for me, growing up in athletics, in baseball and all that stuff, somebody who actually is a student of the game, right, or a student of being a coach, right?
Okay.
Not only do they have certifications and stuff like that, right? They get standard CrossFit stuff, but they're going above and beyond. They're researching other ways to do stuff, coming up with ideas, ways on modifications. I know for us, we weekly we try to put out the workouts and then have a coach come in and say, okay, what would some modifications be for each of the days?
Sure.
Right. So we try and instill that to all of our coaches, just to give them a heads up to
Constantly thinking about
help them
what's-
think about other things, right?
Sure.
But also, I think the individual has to be people oriented, right? They can't just be recluse and be a hermit and stuff like that. They have to want to coach,
Sure.
Right. We've had some people here that, went down the coaching path and we didn't feel that they were up to our standards.
Sure.
Well, and come to find out too that they didn't enjoy it like they thought they would.
Yeah. And it's not for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing and coaching are just night and day different.
Two
Yeah.
different things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so just the
So do you guys require continuing education? Is that something you do or you want to do? Or
I wouldn't say we require it.
do
It's
you support
encouraged.
it? I mean, you guys
Oh,
of
yeah.
course help
Yeah.
support your coaches with
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. One, feeding off of that, we are really lucky with all the coaches we have because all of them have that willingness to
Right.
continue learning and want to know the reason why. I think a big philosophy here too is you have to give people the reason why. Why are we doing what we're doing?
Sure.
Yes, we're doing handstand push-ups, but why?
Right. Or why
Yes,
are you
this
making me
is-
scale?
Yeah, or yes, this is this philosophy, but why? Like you have to give people a reason. You can't just point the finger and say this is it.
Sure.
You know?
Sure. Are there any significant or attributes or anything that jump out to you and say, I mean, other than what Mike was already
Yeah,
saying?
I think big one for me is the willingness to continue in education.
Okay.
Willing to grow. The second you think you're doing good and you kind of close that book,
Yeah.
you've
You
lost.
try and coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have
we've all
to
seen it.
continue. Yeah, you have to continue. And, I've been in the fitness world and athletic world all my life, so I've seen it.
Walk me through the process when you guys decide we need another coach.
We've actually gotten lucky
Yeah,
with doing in-house. The last one we just brought on board, his name's Drew. He came from Seattle, him and his wife, and started here, study out his L1, but it was kind of like, okay. And
Sure.
I'm going to watch you first. Sorry, Drew. And, because our philosophy is pretty strong. And not a lot of people are on board with it. So seeing that he was grasping and really enjoying it, it was kind of like, hey, you want to coach? And he was like, yep.
So you say not a lot of people are on board with that. What does that mean? Like other coaches or people you've brought in the past?
People that we brought in the past. We're big on the gymnastics side. Go figure. Right?
Right.
Shocker!
We dropped down a lot to basics.
Okay.
We're on the floor, we're doing hollow holds. Why aren't we doing beat swings or pull-ups on the bar? Because you can't even hold the hollow.
I
That's
like
why.
that. You can't haul the
I can do a pull-up with band. No, you can't.
Yeah, like we took bands out. We took box jumping pull-ups out. There's a why to everything. But so some people either coming from other boxes is where we see it most. They come over here and they're like, what do you mean I can't use a band? Or what do you mean I can't do push-ups on my knees? And it's like, here's my why. But
Sure.
so that's I think where our philosophy goes. So
Well, I also think that having coaches that want to be coaches, and we want to be coaches, right? Because we've built this business, we've put blood, sweat, and tears in it, and we have to make sure that the people who are part of our family, right, want to give back the same, right? It's just not, I'm going to be a coach. You have to have the same philosophies we do. You have to think the same way that we do, right? We're just not going to throw you out there and say, go coach, right?
Absolutely.
So-
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why your box takes on your personality.
Right.
Right,
Because
exactly.
everybody is sort of an extension of
Yeah.
you. And so if they're
Yeah.
not on the same page, I imagine you're going to address that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and to kind of go along to finish your question about what's our routine, I guess, on bringing a coach on, is so Drew had his L1 and he's done a little bit of coaching, but what he's doing now, because he just started, is once a week for 1 year. 1 year. Wow. Once a week for 1 hour.
That's harsh.
Welcome to Die Empty. Is we're co-coaching, right? So that way he's not just thrown in. I know he's seen our style of coaching, but it's getting your feet wet and getting comfortable and really making sure that he actually wants to do it.
Yeah.
So, and then if we have someone who doesn't even have their L1, they start an apprenticeship
Sure.
and have to get X amount of hours,
They're just shadowing.
and they're just
Correct.
shadowing. Yeah.
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 Just walk me through the generalization. I mean, when you program, is it generally day to day? Is it weekly? Is it monthly? Is it annually?
A little of all the above.
Do you do microcycles, macrocycles? I mean,
It's all the above. I basically we work on cycles,
Okay.
right? So whether it's a 6-week cycle or an 8-week cycle or a 10-week cycle, right? But it's not. We're going to solely focus on a body part or a movement or something like that. So we might be working on pulling, or we might be working on pushing or pressing, right? So we'll incorporate over the course of those cycles various things during the skill sessions or the strength sessions, right? Sure. And I'll actually plan out, not necessarily rep schemes and stuff like that, but I'll plan out what we're going to do skill-wise for the cycle, right? I've
6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks. So I've got a fairly elaborate spreadsheets and all that stuff that keeps track of cycles. So I can pick and pull from different sections of those and stuff like that. So when I was at RSA CrossFit, I had Zach Filer came over and did a kettlebell seminar. He talked about programming, and he's really the one who taught me how to program just from his hour talk on programming, right? You got some in the L1, you get some in the L2 and stuff like that, but he really taught me about focus on a cycle, and you're pulling little threads, whether it's a back squat thread or a push press thread or something like that, right? So sure. I take that into account in all the stuff that we do. Now with the gymnastics, we throw that in as well. There's certain days we do gymnastics stuff, right? We try to incorporate those in skills and in strength sessions as well. So we're trying to mix and match
intertwining.
Yeah, and intertwine those things in with all the stuff that we do.
Sure.
It's
and I love
seriously
it.
a science.
I love it.
I struggled with programming for a long time, and then we went and did our L2, and it was like a light bulb.
Yeah.
And
that
then,
L2 is awesome.
Yes, I really love the L2, and then I'm great at programming gymnastics.
Well, yeah.
But no, like his spreadsheet has helped a lot with me understanding it too, and he'll bounce ideas off of me, and I mean he does 98% of it, and I do 2%.
And I'm assuming it's still evolving, the coaching process.
Always.
It is.
Particularly where I say pro coaching, programming. Especially if you're now doing sort of a gymnastics program with what you're doing, and you're talking about those cycles. You're finding kind of what's working well together and what is a train wreck.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads into my next question of, when you're doing those programming, do you take into account, what's going on, things like weather, things like, by Wednesday, the whole gym is wrecked because Monday and Tuesday just destroyed them. I had no idea it was that bad.
Yeah. Well, sometimes
that
you
kind of
program
stuff,
something and
so-
you don't expect it to go the way that you think it's going to look on
So it's
paper.
like-
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
sorry guys, didn't mean to do that. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, so around here in the wintertime, unfortunately, from December to the end of January, you don't run. Right. So,
Yeah.
Well,
well, you can, but
Yeah.
you got to bundle up.
your accident
Yeah.
injury starts to go up.
Right.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
so we'll incorporate a lot more rowing and a lot more assault bike and a lot more
Ski erg.
ski erg and shuttle sprints and stuff
Yeah.
like that in the gym.
Sure.
Right? Just because
Yeah.
you can't go out. But when it's nice outside during the summer months, we incorporate a ton of running, right? Whether it's sprints, we do on Thursdays is pretty much a conditioning day. So there's, I don't want to say a lot of running, but there's a lot of running, rowing.
It's more conditioning and cardio based.
Running, rowing,
Yeah.
and biking and burpees and stuff on that day. The
Body
workouts, body weight. The workouts tend to be a little bit longer on Thursdays. It's not to say that they go over an hour, but the workout itself is more the 25 to 35 minute-ish.
Right.
Right.
That makes sense. All right, so we took a short break and we lost Michael. He is off teaching a class right now, so we're going to keep going. The first question, obviously, is do you have additional programs besides just your straight regular CrossFit class?
We do, yes.
And what are those?
We offer a CrossFit gymnastics class, and then we offer Olympic lifting.
How many times a week are those? What days are they? Just the general.
Our gymnastics class is every Tuesday at 6:30, and it's an hour to an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
And then
That's the last class of the day, right?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. And then our Ollie class is 2 days a week, and it was on Monday and Thursday. So Monday was 6:30 to 7:30, and then Thursday is 6 to 7.
Okay, so same kind of end of the day. Those are the
Yep.
last classes. Okay.
Yeah.
What was the decision to do those classes? Was it something you just wanted to say, hey, I think we'd like to do this, or was it people were asking for it, or how did that come about?
People weren't necessarily asking for it, but we're really big on variety and offering different aspects to our members and our people, even outside of the box. And in my opinion, you can call me biased, but gymnastics is a huge number one foundation in building CrossFit movements.
Pretty sure it's on that CrossFit pyramid somewhere.
It is. It's up there. Yeah. So that's why we added the CrossFit gymnastics class. And, you know, we either get a huge influx of people depending on what cycle we're doing, or, you know, we'll have our consistent people that just continue to show up. So, like I said, that class was added probably about a year ago, and it's still going strong.
The Ollie class?
The gymnastics class. Yeah.
Okay. So were you always doing the Ollie class?
No, and then the Ollie class we started probably maybe 4 months ago.
Halloween in 2 more days.
Yeah, that's scary. I know. Yeah. About 4 months ago.
Okay.
Like I said, we're big on the gymnastics side, but that's not all we focus on. And
Sure.
people love weightlifting. People like lifting heavy stuff. So
I'm guilty.
we're
of one of those.
yeah.
Yep.
So we felt it was only fair, and again, just opening our doors even more of offering this Olympic lifting class.
Well, you kind of had a little bit more of a unique opportunity there, right? With
Yeah.
a certain individual. So tell me
Yeah.
about how that relationship developed.
With Caleb?
Yeah.
So Caleb
Well,
Whitby.
who's Caleb? Yeah.
Yeah. So Caleb Whitby is our Olympic lifting coach. He is a national ranked Olympic lifter. I've known him 4 years or so.
Okay.
He used to coach me about 3 years ago in Ollie lifting.
Okay.
And just his knowledge and what he has to offer is like no other. It's
Well, how did that relationship come about? I mean, was it just something where you were at a box and he
yeah,
was coaching?
yeah.
or-
Actually,
okay.
so it was at another box, and he came and started coaching an Olympic lifting class.
Okay, perfect.
And you know, the group started out huge, and then it slowly teeters out, and then I was the only one left, and I kept
Sure,
going, you
sure.
know, and so it was just all this one-on-one stuff.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
It was amazing. And then he stopped doing it, and you know, him and I stayed in contact, just mostly like Merry Christmas or
Sure,
you know, Happy
sure.
New Year. And then, you know, we had a few people here like, oh, let's do some Olympic lifting, and nobody here has their weightlifting course yet, so we
Okay.
didn't feel right offering that.
Right.
And I was like,
I think I know
let
somebody.
let me text him. So got in contact with him, and he is the most humble man, and he was like, yep, I'll just
Yeah,
come do
super,
it.
super cool, dude.
Yeah.
So that's been going for 4 months now, and that's still going. I'm assuming.
It's we're on like
A little break.
a little break right now.
Okay.
Yep, and then we're gonna pick it back up again. Yeah.
Okay. Was that
Yeah.
successful? You think?
There's a bug, sorry.
It's okay.
Yes, actually, because we just had an Olympic lifting competition we hosted.
You did.
Yeah, crazy.
Tell me about that.
We competed.
Yeah.
Like Michael and I were talking, and we brought it up to Caleb when we just kind of put the bug in his ear. And he's like, well, you know, let's just do a mock meet between our people and just to see how it goes.
Okay.
And I was like, all right. So we did that, and it was good, and they had fun. And then after that, you know, Michael and I pushed it even more.
Right.
And we're like, can we do it? And it turned into we are doing it. And Caleb, I mean, he's that coach that just does it because he loves it so much. You know, and you can see it.
Yeah, you can.
You know, he's out there judging, and he's still helping you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's awesome to see. So
That was cool. So you decided to do a weightlifting competition.
yes, yeah,
How did that go?
it was awesome. It was a really good turnout.
I agree.
Yeah, it was. Well, and what was so cool, and we are still talking about it to this day, is, you know, we had gyms from all over that came, mostly Tri-City, although we did have quite a few come from CrossFit 4 Pillars. Are they Yakima?
I believe it was Moses Lake.
Oh, yes, yeah, Moses Lake. Okay, Mogic Lake, wow. So they came from over here, and it was to see everybody just like working together, like, and in the back, you know, everybody is figuring out warm up and sharing and communicating. I mean, like, and cheering each other on. Like, that was so awesome to see.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I'll just plug this in here and kind of let you talk about it a little bit. But the thing that I noticed was, or hoped rather, was that the CrossFit community would come together like they always do.
Yes.
At every competition I've ever been to, even though you're competitors, you are always looking out for everybody else. And there was none of this
hostility,
ego, or or
Yeah.
that weird, you know, what are they doing? What am I doing? And it was just cool how everybody helped each other
and
out.
that's why it was so fun. I mean, even the CrossFit competition we hosted, you know, a month before this Olympic lifting comp, like, to see the community come together and everybody cheer on and just be excited to be together was awesome.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
You had, I guess we should touch a little bit on that.
Yes.
You did your own competition. How did that go, or how did that come about? You know, what was the decision to do that? And then you put it out there in the community, you know, who came, how successful
For the
was it?
CrossFit competition?
Right.
Yeah.
So just talk a little bit about that.
So that was September. We decided to probably host that almost right after the Open.
Okay.
It was, you know, in the back of our mind, and we knew there was a lot that goes into it, and
Sure.
making sure it runs smooth, and what workouts are we going to do? How are we going to torture people, and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, everything that goes into it.
Yeah.
And I think it was beginning of summer. It was like, okay, let's do it. Because Michael had already started programming what the workouts were going to be. So started that process. We knew we wanted to get signups out there and get it out there soon, because the sooner you can get it out, especially months in advance.
Sure.
Because people plan, you know, and especially CrossFit competitions, there's so many now.
Yes, there are.
Everywhere, you know, and we don't want to step.
Which is awesome.
It's really cool, yeah. And in Tri-Cities, you know, you have gyms that run their annual competition on this day, or month, I should say.
Right.
And then another one around this month. So you don't want to step on their toes, because you want to kind of keep the flow.
Absolutely.
So that's other things we're looking at too. And
So is this something you are wanting to do on an annual basis then?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
yeah, we want to make it a yearly thing.
Right on.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you had people from outside the area that showed up for
We
it?
did,
Okay.
yes.
So-
We had people from Montana.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we had a guy from Montana. We had 3 people from Tacoma.
Okay.
It was awesome.
Successful, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yep. Yeah,
Great.
ran smooth. We had no hiccups. You know, we got a lot of compliments on it, which was nice. Like anything, you know, we know what to change or do different the next time, but yeah.
Sure. So looking at demographics, changing gears again,
Yes.
looking at demographics of the CrossFit community, I want you to talk a little bit about the masters that you have here in your own box. You know, how do you guys approach those masters athletes? Is there anything you do differently? Do you treat everybody the same?
We,
You know?
honestly, like, we have a good 50 to 50 ratio here of not only men to women, but also younger to our masters.
Okay.
So it's pretty equal along the lines of that.
We're calling masters CrossFit 35 and up.
Yeah.
That's what I'm just
Yeah.
going to throw that out there.
Yes.
Okay.
I would say, in my opinion, though, masters is like 50 and up. But
Okay.
because, you know, you hit that 50 mark, 55, unfortunately, age starts taking its toll, depending what you've done in your
With
life.
athletics, yeah, it's a lot
With
different.
athletics,
so.
yes. But how we treat it, we don't treat anybody different, honestly. When it comes to our workouts, we scale accordingly. You know, we have one lady that has some knee issues, you know, and we work around it. You know, on a fly, we expect not only ourselves, but our coaches to look at something, evaluate it, and switch it on a fly.
Sure.
So we expect them to do certain things. Now, if there's ring muscle ups and we have a 55-year-old male here that's never been on rings, we're not going to have him do ring muscle ups, right? There's always modifications to still get them to build the strength for those, but more in a safe manner.
You guys have a culture of when you're watching a class and you're coaching, if there is a master's and you know there's a little bit of that male pride that kicks in, of
Competitiveness,
course.
yes.
And by golly, I'm going to do this RX, and they're just struggling,
Yeah.
and you know it's not the right
Yeah.
movement, it's not the right weight, you know, whatever that is.
Right.
That you have a culture here where you're going to step in and just say,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
here's a lighter weight, here's a different movement, and just shut them down.
I think the relationships we have with all of our members are close. So when we're looking at someone, let's say in a situation like that, whether it be, let's say push press and it's just too heavy, they're sacrificing form.
Sure.
I normally don't tell them. I will walk up and I will change the weight for them. And they know. I've never had pushback. It's an understanding of, yeah, you're right, because of my reason why. You know,
Right.
I don't want you to hurt your shoulder because it's bugging you. You don't need to go RX. You know, true master's weight would actually be this, and you're already doing it. You know,
Right,
throwing
right.
things out there to help
Sure.
them boost their confidence, like, oh, I'm always scaling. Well, in reality, you're not. So, yeah.
Is there anything that you guys do here specifically for that master's population?
We've never thought about it, honestly.
Okay.
Just because, you know, I can name 10 people that are 55 and over, or 50 and over here, that love joining the Young Bucks, because some of them can keep up
I think
with
of
them.
one that's crushing it that I was struggling with when I was here for a little bit.
Yeah, so, you know, it's cool to watch them see the light bulb go off or see the excitement in their face, you know, because we all have that competitiveness.
Sure.
Of, I'm 54 years old, I know she's 30, and I just beat her in this WOD. You know, it's that friendly competition.
Right.
It's, in my opinion, as we get older, you should have that. You should have that competition with younger people to push you. Because if you're with 50 and over, 55 and over, and we just had a specific class for that, who's going to push each other?
Right.
You know, yes, hopefully the coach would, but we're a CrossFit community. We all work together.
Right.
So,
Switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about, do you guys coach nutrition at all?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does that look like with your box?
We have had like, I guess you can call them like a day meeting, like on a Saturday. We'd have a few hour talk about it,
Okay.
you know, or I hate calling it like clinics or seminars because I don't believe they are. Neither of us are certified nutritionists.
Sure.
You know, so we can't have that underneath our belt. But between the both of us, I think we have a good education at least to guide people.
By both, I mean you and
Michael
Mike.
and I.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Do any of your other coaches have nutrition backgrounds? Or okay.
No, yeah. So we're the closest ones. We do have a friend that does have a nutrition background, and we go to her and ask her a few questions, but that's more keto related.
Sure.
You know, depending on what people's goals are, will determine what we feel would work for them.
Okay.
You know, you get someone then that walks in off the street and they're like, yeah, I eat McDonald's every day. Well, that's an easy change.
Sure. Sure.
You get someone that walks in and they're like, you know, I've been doing this, I've been even counting macros and nothing's changing. You know, and again, I'm no doctor, but it's, well, what's going on with your hormones? You know, look
Right.
at their age. How's their sleep? How's their stress? You know, there's so much more that goes into it than just nutrition.
Absolutely.
Where nutrition's a huge key, but there's so much more to it. So,
Have you guys ever done a nutrition challenge?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we followed the zone diet. So that goes based on
Strict zone or zone paleo or just
strict zone.
Okay.
Yep, strict zone. So your proteins, carbs, and your fats, and your blocks that go with it. We gave everybody this pamphlet explaining what zone was. They got points if they stayed within their blocks every day.
How long did that go for?
That one was 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yes, we did a 6-week challenge on that one, and that was last year around this time.
Okay.
and they really liked it. And people, we did measurements and pictures.
Sure.
And everybody that did it, I think we had 16 that did it. They all lost inches.
Fantastic.
So
Successful.
exactly.
Yeah.
So just changing a little bit of what you're doing, can make a huge difference. And a lot of times people think I need to eat less because I'm working out, or I need to lose weight, which that's not the case.
Right. It's the opposite.
Yeah,
in
you
most
need
cases.
to eat
Yeah.
to support your body. So, yeah.
Right on. Cool.
Yeah.
Looking at, I know we talked a little bit about, your weightlifting competition
Mm-hmm.
and the competition that you did, but there's another aspect of competition with CrossFit, and I know that's super up in the air and changing right now, as we all know, with CrossFit Games and what's going on with that. But, so you got somebody that's, say, 20-something, and they come to you and they say, I want to go to the CrossFit Games. What does that look like for you guys?
So he came to us and said, I want to go to at least regionals. That was his goal. Well, unfortunately, there's no,
Right.
that's out now.
Not anymore.
But, back in the day,
Sure.
he came to us and we laid out his nutrition. Had someone that he was going to go see for his nutrition, because again, we're not
Right.
professionals in that level. As for the programming, we were doing, Michael was doing the competition programming for him. I did the gymnastics programming for him and the mobility stuff. The biggest thing though was their mindset.
Sure.
I could sit here and say, I want to go to the games, but I'm not going to put in and day out of that work.
Yeah.
Do injuries come up? How do we prevent that? Which doctors do you see? Like, there's a huge list of things that you've got to follow if you want to be a true games regionals athlete.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with this guy that came in,
So you were willing to put in that work and that effort, though.
yeah, and we did. We did for about, I think it was 2 months.
Okay.
And then it started teetering down, and he realized that he wasn't quite
As
there
committed as
yet.
he thought he
yeah,
was? Sure.
Which is, honestly, it's good for people to realize that.
Absolutely.
And experience it, and it's,
But you guys were willing to put in that time
Yeah.
and effort, and that's awesome. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a lot of commitment on your
yeah,
part as
we,
well.
we definitely went out of our way, and we do that with anybody that walked in the door again.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Right. Shifting gears just a little bit again more, one of the big aspects that is just integral with CrossFit. When I think of CrossFit, I can't ever think of it without the community aspect.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
piece is just...
That's
I mean,
CrossFit.
I mean, it's one of the heartbeat, if you will,
Yep.
of CrossFit.
Yeah.
You can't separate those two. And talk a little bit about, what does that mean to you? Die Empty.
Yeah.
What does community mean? And then what do you do to grow that community? We'll start there.
I mean, just like you said, community is a group of people, obviously, and trying to pull even more into it. Tri-City community, Washington community. I mean, it could expand however big you want it to go, but the community underneath our roof, anybody that walks in that door, they're going to be family from the beginning. And how we hold that and what we expect from it is, we're going to be there for them emotionally. We're going to be there for them when they need a shoulder to cry on. We're going to be there for them to guide them with nutrition, And then building that relationship brings everybody together. If we have a workout going on, nobody finishes alone here. Someone
Right.
is last, everybody else is going to jump in and help finish. Whether it's motivating and cheering or they're down on the floor doing it with them. That's community. Nobody finishes alone. We're all in it together. We're trying to grow,
Absolutely.
And that gets out. That's word of mouth right there. People, social media, it's huge.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's out there now. And, we have people posting weekly, this happened today, this happened today. We had a huge post from a lady about the beginning of the year, sitting on her couch, crying tears of joy because she finally found her home, and what makes the sparks fly.
Sure.
So that's CrossFit.
That's
That is
awesome.
community. And to get more of that to help people, that would just be amazing. So,
Right on.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do to cultivate that a little bit more? I mean, like barbecues, get-togethers,
Yeah.
you know, parties and stuff
we
like
have
that?
we have girls' nights. So every other month we'll set up a girls' day and we'll go to Garris Winery, or we'll go watch a movie, or just something to pull, the women together. The guys, they want.
What about the boys?
I know, and it was so funny because when we did this girls' night, we had guys complaining, when's the guys' day? Yeah.
I love it.
So Michael's gonna set that up. And either go golfing or maybe just go watch a football game somewhere. I don't know, whatever guys
Cool,
do.
sure.
So we do stuff like that. We do barbecues.
Okay.
We'll have stuff here and we'll just have like a member appreciation day, or like after they open, we had this huge potluck just to say congratulations to everybody. So, and we invite the family, we invite the kids, we invite the grandmas, the moms. So,
Right.
yeah,
Right on.
yeah.
Have you guys done any charity events, community-wise, or anything like that yet?
Yeah, the pickleball was actually for charity.
Okay, awesome.
And we actually have another one coming up it's a bike ride from Columbia Point up to Prosser and back. So we're gonna sponsor that, and it's to help raise money for all the kids in the community that need to get out of bad situations.
Cool.
Yeah. And then the pickleball tournament was just to have everybody get together in the pickleball world. I don't even know what it is, but it was awesome. And it was fun just to watch them come together,
Do you know what the charity was?
I would have to double check. I don't remember. Yeah. But it was really cool. And then, what else? We've done a few other ones too. We did one for, I think it was Kennewick High School for their sports athletic team.
Okay, sure.
Help raise money for them.
Right, right.
So, yeah.
Tri-Cities has started out back in the day with one gym,
Yeah.
and we're already at 8.
Yeah.
And the trend that I personally see is that they're starting to open up faster, not slower. How do you see that affecting, your business positively, negatively? I mean, I know it's or neutral. I mean, is there anything that you see trend-wise, just in the area regarding CrossFit that just jumps out at you?
There's a lot of boxes,
There
which
are.
is in a positive side. It is, and it's funny you asked because Lori and I were just talking about that today. Because of the competitions we've hosted, it is awesome to see the community come together.
Yeah.
The CrossFit community.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to be able to offer that and to see it and to see everybody come together. From a business standpoint, of course it's going to hurt, because there's just more competition.
Sure.
I'd be lying if I couldn't say that.
Yeah.
But it all depends on how you can set yourself apart. How do you stay on top? How do you set yourself apart? What are you doing to better your members and athletes?
Right.
Again, that's unfortunately business side. We still have to run a business, but we're also going to keep the CrossFit feel and the community and stress that day in and day out.
So that's a great segue into where do you see your box in 5 years?
I see us bigger. Yeah, our goal is
Bigger, like just more members, bigger in a different facility, bigger, what does that mean? Okay.
Yeah, so our goal is in about 2 years, hopefully we can find a plot of land. Otherwise, if we can already find a building that works for our needs, then great. But as of right now, it's really hard to find that. Just a big open space.
Sure.
And our goal is to build
Right on.
big and support.
So how big are you now, square footage wise, do you know?
Square footage total, we're at 5,100. Floor space is 4,500 square feet.
So what are you thinking?
We want,
When you say big,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
our floor space, we want over 10,000.
Nice.
Yeah, and so we're gonna have showers, we're gonna have locker rooms, we're gonna have a coach's area, we're gonna have a kitchen. I mean, there's gonna be
Okay, so that's
bigger and better.
That's 5 years from now. What about 10 years?
10 years from now.
Is there a plan for 10 years? Are that far out?
No, honestly, it's at that point, after 5 years, if we can reach our goal of opening a bigger box, then sustain that.
Sure.
Grow the community. Get bigger. What can we do? Should we open another box? Should we franchise somewhere else? You
Sure,
know, there's
sure.
always those big goals in there.
There
so,
are. There are.
Yeah.
So, again, 8 boxes here.
Yep.
Not even as many in Spokane, and they've got 200,000 more people, or more than that than we do.
Yeah.
How many boxes do you think the Tri-Cities can support?
At this rate, honestly, I don't think much more. You know, if looking at the demographics and where Tri-City is growing, it is growing.
Sure.
And it's growing quick.
Yeah, they can't build houses fast enough for people.
Right. Yeah. You know, and I could see them, maybe another one opening South Kennewick area. You know, like there's room for another one. Maybe, I know West Richland is in West Richland, but more out toward that area. I know we have rattlesnakes, so it's like,
So like 2 more maybe? One in
yeah,
Kennewick,
like
one in West Richland
one
kind
or
of
2
thing?
more, and that's all I can see. But
Okay.
it's Hey, welcome to the community.
So
if you
thinking
do.
about that, last question is, where do you see CrossFit in the Tri-Cities going? I mean, the big trend of what do you see, pull out the crystal ball, looking in the future. Is this something that we're at the peak, we're nearing the peak? Is this something that's just going to get bigger and bigger and grow? I mean, what do you see for the Tri-Cities?
I'm pretty optimistic, so I see it growing, honestly. I see it not necessarily more boxes. I mean, heck, it might happen.
Sure.
But I see the boxes now that we have staying and just either staying where they're at or growing bigger or supporting their members. I mean, I truly think that we're not at the peak. I think we're finally reaching it. I mean, look at what Glassman's done.
Oh, yeah.
I love what he's done. A lot of people are going to shun me for that. But for him to go
Why
back.
do you say that?
So his reasoning, right? Have you read everything on it? His reasoning is
Talking about what he's doing with the games?
correct.
Yeah.
He's getting rid of regionals, a lot from a money standpoint, right? But
Right. I mean, he's shifting from athlete focus to health focus.
right, which is
and
awesome.
It's a big shift
It is
that's in the limelight, but for us that are in the community, it's not big at all.
right. But just what he said though about there is so much focus on the open regionals, CrossFit.
Right.
So much focus on that and on the Thoris daughters, on the Matt Frazier's, all that. It's
Sure.
like he's lost what CrossFit is. And he said it himself, I need to refocus myself back into the boxes because the people who have lost 100 pounds, 150 pounds, 50 pounds, that's CrossFit.
Yeah.
That's why he opened. That's why he started. And for him to say that he wants to go back that and change directions to a more health field, that's
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah,
it's
it's awesome.
amazing. Yeah. So that's why I said we're not at our peak. We're getting there now. And that's what's awesome. Yes, CrossFit's a sport, which is cool to see. But I think there's still so much more potential.
Right on.
And I can't wait. So
Well, thank you very much for taking up the
Yes.
time. I know this lasted
Yeah.
a bit longer than I said,
That's
but
okay. It was fun.
This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed my time here,
Thank
and
you.
you guys are
Yeah.
super fun.
thank you.
And so thanks once again, and we will look to see you guys doing
Yes.
more fun, cool stuff
Absolutely.
in the near future.
Yep. Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
All right. That's it for us.